Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Packers with Steve, your host here, Steve. Obviously, as I alluded earlier or last week, how my episodes are going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go over week 1 and then into week 2, and simply do it that way because then it's just easier for me just to do it in that order. Talk about what happened week 1, everything with the Packer game and all the other games from the NFL slate of schedule from week 1, of course. And then go into week 2, my predictions and stuff like that. And I think that's just the best way. Obviously, I'll be talking about other things, but mainly this podcast and show is about that. Talking NFL with fellow NFL fans. There's my banner there. There we go. At talking_Packers. But I wanted to go over what happened in week 1, everything big and small from all the games. There we go. Week 1, New England defeated Pittsburgh 28-21. Leading passer Ben Roethlisberger 351. Leading rusher DeAngelo Williams 127. And leading receiver Antonio Brown with 133 yards. I kind of thought when I saw I knew New England was going to get this game with everything coming off from the Super Bowl with Deflategate, Brady, getting exonerated there. I was kind of glad, obviously glad for that. Going into the Sunday games, Chiefs over the Texans 27-20. I know I predicted the Chiefs in the win, but the Chiefs showed up being a team. But even in the win, even with getting 27 points, they still are now 16 games in a row without a wide receiver touchdown. They got a running back pass touchdown, a tight end, Travis Kelce, I believe his name is, passing touchdown, but no wide receiver passing touchdown. I kind of thought Macklin was going to get the first one here in game 1 against the Texans on the road. But hey, maybe they wanted to wait till they're at home since they were pretty much beating up on the Houston Texans. I mean, the score is only shows it was only a 7-point game, but in reality, the Chiefs were dominating for most of that matchup, most of that game. Speaking of dominating, the Jets beat the Browns 31-10. I kind of thought maybe this could be a game the Browns could have stolen or get the win. But that was not the case. The Jets actually looked like an NFL team, looked like a good team. But then again, it was against Cleveland and their own issues. Cleveland's number 1 quarterback was down. Johnny Manziel, has to pick up the slack from there. It just is a mess there in Cleveland. So you can't really take so much out of that for the Jets, thinking that their sky's the limit. No, it's just one game. I mean, that's really for any of these games. It's not like I know or anybody truly knows for their team or for any team of how they're going to do just because of one game here in week 1. I mean, yes, it's great to get a win for your team and, start 1-0, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Obviously, it's a great thing. But in retrospect, with looking forward into the whole entire season, you got to take one game at a time, and maybe by week 5, I would go by week 5 or week 6. It's kind of when you kind of get an idea of how these teams are going to go if they have a chance to do something like I thought with Tampa Bay and Oakland. Can they be the surprise team? It didn't look like it for either team here in week 1, but maybe things will start rolling here week 2 moving forward. Because in all honesty, week 1 is almost like a regular game speed preseason week 1, in a way, because even in the preseason, which you have the 4 games, they're kind of going half speed. The only people that are going full speed are the ones that in their second tier, third string, trying to make a roster spot, showing what they can do. Those kind of players. But for the starters and for the franchise players, you don't see what they're made of or what they even the team in the whole on their first team offense or defense just as a team are until we get into the regular season. And week 1 is kind of like their game, like a one-game preseason in a way. Hopefully, I explained that correctly, but you know what I mean. If to them they need that, the team needs it and everything. Full game that counts, full speed, everything going 100 miles an hour. Had to think, react, and all the other increments that go into an NFL season, NFL game, let alone season. So, but still, win's a win. So good for good for the Jets fans. You won, and you won at home, so that's even better. The Colts getting their butts kicked by the Bills, 27-14. I kind of thought that the Colts were going to beat up on the Bills. I thought the Bills were improved, but I didn't know how improved they would be. I didn't know that their defense was as good as advertised. And we'll see how truly good they are this upcoming week against Tom Brady and the Patriots. So we'll see what they're made of then. But hey, like I said, win's a win. Congrats to Buffalo, and maybe they're the surprise team. Maybe they're the team that might have been talked about a little bit, but they're going to be under that radar, and maybe even stay under that radar for a little bit longer, and maybe even just from the Patriots in the AFC, or even in their own division, specifically there. They're in the AFC East, so. But like I said, we'll see this upcoming weekend. We'll see what they can do against New England and what their defense, what they're truly made of against an offense that has the quarterback of Tom Brady. So, but win is a win. Miami beating Washington. I kind of thought Miami should have gotten a better win. So even though they got the win, they weren't so impressive to me. I think they should have been beating Washington more handily than they did. But again, win is a win. So they won their 17-10. Next game, the Carolina Panthers. That's Big Hugh of Team Boy TV, who's actually going live on his channel right now with his boys over there. So a quick shout out to them, all three of them. And I know I tweeted them a little bit earlier, but anyways, his team, the Carolina Panthers, beat Jacksonville Jaguars 20-9. But even though it looks like they laid a smackdown on the Jaguars had it a lot closer. They could have had a chance to get closer to get the win. I think it would have been an upset of the week, obviously, if they would have beaten Carolina. I obviously picked Carolina to win, but I thought the game would be more interesting, more of a nail-biter for Big Q and all the other fans of the Carolina Panthers. I didn't think they would steamroll over Jacksonville as much as some thought. Not everybody, but still, congratulations. The St. Louis Rams over the Seattle Seahawks, 34-31 in overtime. Congratulations to the Rams. I kind of thought the Rams might have improved, but the Seahawks are the Seahawks, defending NFC Championship champions, with a loss there in the last second against the Patriots. How ironic how they end the season with a dumb call play to lose the Super Bowl, and they start the regular season of the next season with a dumb play call that lost them the game there in overtime. So that was kind of the irony in it. But next week they get us. Seahawks travel to Green Bay to face the Packers, and we'll see how that goes. I know it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to sit up here and say, the Packers are going to blow them out, because they're not going to. But obviously, I do think they're going to get the win. That's for dang sure. Arizona over New Orleans, 31-19. I did not see that coming. I did not see Arizona beating up on the Saints as much as they did. I saw the Saints win. I saw the Cardinals winning, but I didn't see Arizona beating up on the New Orleans Saints as much as the Arizona Cardinals beat up on the New Orleans Saints. 31-19 pretty much does it in itself, and just their running attack, their defense, obviously, it's legit, and we'll see how they do, moving forward. But that's a great start. Great start for Bruce Arians and the Arizona Cardinals. San Diego, Detroit, 33-28. Detroit having a major collapse in the second half of that game, and that certainly was huge in a negative way for them. They should have had this game. They should have won this game, whether they won it handily or close. Maybe San Diego would have came back, but I thought Detroit was going to hold on and get the win. Obviously, as a Packer fan, I'm glad they didn't. But I still thought that they should have gotten the win. And they just let it slip away. San Diego comes back, rushing back, and takes over and takes over the game, wins the game, of course. So, there, Tennessee, the battle of the rookie quarterbacks really wasn't a battle of much. Marcus Mariota versus Jameis Winston. I know a lot of people just from one game are equating it to back in the draft class with Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, or calling him the next Jamarcus Russell. The Jamarcus Russell of the Buccaneers. Slow down on that. And I understand where you're coming from. It wasn't a great first outing for the number one overall pick, Jameis Winston, against a Tennessee Titan defense that is improved like many of the other teams, as I've already said in the thoughts there. But come on now, it's one game. You never know. Week 2, maybe he might light it up, or maybe he might show more improvement. I mean, again, this is a rookie year. And the same thing for Marcus Mariota. Perfect passer rating, did great, but not one game, especially your very first game, make a career. It's a great start for Marcus. It's a bad start for Jameis, but it does not make a good or bad career for either of them. Okay? They're still rookies. There's an entire season to go, and we'll see how the trajectories go from here. And I still think in the long run, Jameis will be better than Marcus. But in any sense, I didn't think it was going to be by a wide margin. I thought they would both be, on equal playing field and level there. But still, I mean, like I said, I respect your opinion if you feel that way about Jameis Winston being a bust or whatever. I respect your decision, and I can see where you came to that conclusion. But I respectfully disagree and say that, just going to wait a little bit and see how the entire season goes for him. And then make an opinion then. A more informed opinion because you've seen him play through his entire first season. Cincinnati over Oakland, 33-13. Not really much there. Oakland didn't show up as much as I wanted them to. It was a home game. Their fans were buzzing and looking forward to this, thinking that they can beat the Bengals, a team that goes to the playoffs, almost every year in the Andy Dalton era, and not win. You thought you could catch them here at home with that fan base, with your team, with the vastly improved defense. Again, another team with a highly improved defense. I thought they would have gotten the win. Baltimore and Denver, 19-13. Denver over Baltimore. Not much of an offensive game, obviously. You see by the score, and if you watch the game, you can definitely tell that there Peyton wasn't really looking like himself for parts of the game. But him and his team, because it is a team game. So yeah, but him and his team obviously did enough to get the win at home. So that's great for them. So Giants against Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. Dallas comes back 27-26. The Giants making some boneheaded thinking kind of stuff there at the end of the game. Just plain, I don't know. Just wasn't right. You should have ran the ball there twice when you're down there. Killed some more of the clock. Ran it down a little bit more. Dallas would have had. Even if Dallas stopped them at the 1 yard line on 4th and goal, they would have had, I think it would be less than a minute, maybe 30 seconds, who knows. They're trying to go 99 yards. They would have had less than 10% chance of winning that game. The Giants would have gotten that, and that's too bad. Now you want to talk about, tale of two halves. Philadelphia Eagles at Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta wins 26-24. But this first half, you thought Atlanta was just going to destroy Philadelphia. I mean, just Eagles not showing up, stupid penalties. Each time the Eagles get a first down or anything positive for their team, offensive penalties, whether it's holding, offensive defensive interference, illegal blocking or cut block or whatever that penalty was on Aguilar, the rookie wide receiver. Just anything positive for the Eagles that were happening in the first half always came back, even long runs, I believe. came back, and good thing it clicked there in the second half. Otherwise, Philadelphia Eagle fans would be a little bit more salty and a little bit more upset than they are right now um, in this loss. But at least they made their score respectable, and at least they came and showed up there in the second half. Vikings at 49ers, 20-3 49ers. I wasn't able to watch this game. It was a late game, obviously. The doubleheader from Monday Night Football and other things I had to get done and wanted to go to sleep. So, but from when I watched packages on ESPN in the morning, Sports Center and stuff like that, it just seemed like the Vikings didn't come to play. The 49ers came up with an aggression. It seemed like people were thinking that they were going to absolutely suck. I'm the one who predicted the 49ers to be last place in their division. I still think that's going to happen, but at least from the first game, they showed that they still should be respected, still should be in some ways feared. So good for them, obviously. And then to us Packers, obviously I'm going to do the Packer game last for reviews and previews. 31-23 over the Chicago Bears. Jay Cutler being Jay Cutler. There's bits and parts of this game, especially the first half. In all honesty, the first half was sloppy on offense, sloppy on defense, sloppy on special teams, really sloppy anywhere. And we just, I don't know. Obviously the first thing to go is say, oh, we're lucky to have Aaron Rodgers, and if we didn't have Aaron Rodgers, we would have probably been blown out here. And maybe that's part of it, but I think more so we're just looking to stay in the game, keep it close there at halftime, and then come back the second half with a more well-oiled machine and get the win in the end. Because the way things were going, I was kind of getting worried that we might lose that game, but obviously that was not the case. So here we go, going to the second week. Now I know I should have I should have more segments for the show. I'm talking about the Packers or talking about specific news items, but at least for these first 2 weeks, I wanted to specifically talk about the games. And here tonight, I'm going, over the first games and into week 2. But also, you're welcome to follow me on Twitter at talking_Packers. Leave me questions or segment suggestions or whatever that you might want for the next episode, because obviously I'm looking to improve it, looking to make it the best that it can be, so it can be as good as Team Boy TV Live and Raiders Central and other YouTube channels that have better things. I know I don't have a fancy background, any fancy music. It's just me talking and silence behind it. But I guess that's what it is. But anyways, it's not time and place to throw a pity party. But week two, Denver at Kansas City, starting off. Denver having a short week, especially after the game they had in Baltimore with things not going 100% right. Yes, they got the win, but they have to just like any other team has to improve. Kansas City looking great, and to think that they might actually get their first receiving touchdown against a Denver defense, a Peyton Manning defense, even though he doesn't play on defense, but you know what I mean. I guess the Broncos would be more special or better or whatever to me than it was if they would have gotten here in week 1, because you're doing it against a more superior opponent and a divisional opponent on top of that, to finally snap that streak of non-passing touchdowns to a wide receiver that's now 16 games long. So I'm going to predict the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. Sorry, man. At Get With Sports. I know he's a Broncos fan on T-Boy TV, but I have your Broncos losing here. I have the Chiefs winning 24-21. I have a last-second field goal winning it sort of thing scenario there. And right into also Big Q, T-Boy TV, your Carolina Panthers. I guess the Houston Texans. I will, shout out people who I know that represent a team. So hopefully they like that. I'm sure they'll let me know. But anyways, his team, Carolina Panthers, at home against Houston. The way Houston played in the first week, I think they're going to come up to play this week. Carolina kind of getting the scare there from Jacksonville. Should have been much closer. Jacksonville, to be quite honest. If it wasn't for a couple of specific plays, should have won this game outright. So I'm gonna go with the Carolina Panthers here. Over Houston, I'm gonna go 35-17 Carolina over Houston. Now the 49ers against Pittsburgh, and you want to talk about someone I know, Troy from the Red Light Sports Network, his Steelers, against the 49ers. I got the Steelers winning here 21-10. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I have New Orleans over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they might be a little bit more improved, but New Orleans after getting their butts kicked last week by the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to come to play at home, their home opener for them. I'm going to go with New Orleans. Um, I'm going to go 17-3 Saints. Detroit at Minnesota, divisional game, rivalry game here in the NFC North, the best division in football, obviously, and is going to be my opinion on that. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Going to go with the home team. You're going with divisional matchups. I'm going to go with the Vikings over the Detroit Lions, 28-14. Arizona at Chicago. I have Arizona actually winning here on the road against the Chicago Bears. I'm going to have Arizona winning 24-17. 24-17 Arizona Cardinals. Big game, the game of the week for me. That should be the game of the week. New England at Buffalo. And I just can't pick against Tom Brady. I just can't. At least not this week. The rule of thumb: don't pick against the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Don't pick against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. I mean, unless they're facing each other, then. But that was last year. But anyways, I got the Patriots over the Bills, 28-24. San Diego at Cincinnati. I have Cincinnati over San Diego, 21-10. Tennessee at Cleveland. Tennessee beats Cleveland. Sorry, Jay. I'm talking to you, Jay. Your Browns are going down. I have Tennessee over Cleveland, 17-7. Atlanta at New York. The Giants, especially after what happened last week. Atlanta with their crazy game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Two teams that are trying to prove themselves. Even though Atlanta got the win, it should have been a win for the Eagles in that game, to be quite honest. I'm sure a lot of people have said that. Atlanta wants to prove something. The Giants want to prove something themselves because they should have had that game against Dallas. So two teams in that kind of scenario. I'm going to go with the Giants, the home team. I'm going to go 28-21. St. Louis, I got the Rams against Washington. Washington, I'm sorry, it's just a mess. And I don't know where they're going to go. I'm not saying they're going to go 0-16, but I don't see them winning here. So I'm going to go with the Rams over Washington, 17-10. Miami at Jacksonville. Miami, when they faced Washington last week, was supposed to be a blowout, as I predicted, I think, in a score for my game last week there. But I'm going to go Miami over Jacksonville. But don't be surprised if Jacksonville shows up again. I wouldn't be surprised either if they won. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to go 17-13. Baltimore at Oakland, the other JB. That's part of Team Boy TV Live. Your Baltimore Ravens facing the Oakland Raiders. Raiders' first home game, or second home game actually. Two home games in a row to start off the season. But I don't see them winning here. So I don't see the Raiders winning here. So I have the Ravens beating the Raiders, kind of a landslide. Sorry, Raider Central, but Ravens 28, Raiders 10. Dallas and Philadelphia. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles over the Cowboys. EDP and Philadelphia's Philadelphia Eagles over the Cowboys. 21. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go 21-20 final score. Monday Night Football, the Jets at the Indianapolis Colts. Stephen A., or as he's known on another show, Ajame. He's in Indianapolis Colts at home against the New York Jets. I see the Colts getting the win. I think it should be a much closer game than most think. The Jets are more improved. I think they should be more respected, at least for me. People like me who always just think, oh, the Jets, it's almost like an easy win, but it's not. They're a good team. So, but I'm going to go with the Colts here, 24-17. And then us for my personal game of the week, obviously, as every week it is, Packer game. Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Seattle Seahawks versus the 13-time world champions, Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go Packers over Seahawks 35-24. 35-24 Packers. I just think it's going to be like a shootout there in Green Bay between both teams, and Green Bay's going to get the best of Seattle there. I mean, it's like I said, it's just my opinion there. Other little news and notes. JPP, I guess there's news about his other finger being, having an issue from the firework debacle. The Giants don't know what to do with him. If I was the Giants, I would just cut my losses. I wouldn't even franchise tag him. I would cut him and sign somebody else, or bring someone up on the practice squad, because you need another body there. Your defense, they just need it. So that's what I would do if I was with the Giants there. Other thoughts and things like that. Like I said, Week 1 does not make a season for any team, whether it's my Packers or anything even negative like the Browns or Raiders. You gotta see how the season goes. Maybe they'll improve, maybe they won't, but time will tell. Only you can't go. No, you can't go from what happened last year to a new team. Only 53-man rosters for all the teams. Things are going to be different, but we'll see how the season is, because I think it's going to be a dogfight in the NFC more than the AFC, in my opinion. A dogfight to not only make the playoffs, but to find out who the representative in the NFC will be. Hopefully in time we'll see Tampa Bay improving. You have the Rams, the Cardinals. Almost, instead of naming them all, almost every single team in the NFC in some way, shape, or form, however you want to lay it out, you can say has a chance to represent the NFC. Seriously. Maybe the Washington team and the 49ers might be the only ones out of the mix, but every single one of them, besides those two, in my opinion, have a chance to represent the NFC. And obviously, even in that light, obviously have a chance to fight it out to get those spots in the playoffs in the NFC. So it's going to be a dogfight. That's why I love the NFL. That's why I love the NFL season, seeing how things work out, seeing how the records stack, and seeing how things are played out throughout the entire season with the wild card races and everything we get, later into the season. And then we go from there. So, like I said, this is my second episode of the regular season of Talking Packers with Steve. Welcome to follow me on Twitter at Talking_Packers. Subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed yet. And I'll be seeing you all next week. I think I'll be doing episodes every Wednesday. I know one of the weeks when we play the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to be on Big Q's Team Boy TV live on his show on Wednesday of that week, of Panthers week. So during Panthers week on that Wednesday, I'm going to be on his show, meaning that this show is going to have to start later, depending on how long he has me there as a guest. And you'll have to be able to check me out there when that happens. Like I said, that won't be until Panthers week, and I think we don't play them till Week 9, I believe. So that's a little bit down the road. But again, thank you for those who watched live. Thank you for those who watch later. Smash that like button, share it, and like I said, and like I always say, if you're not subscribed, you're welcome to subscribe and join in the conversation, talking all things NFL and Green Bay Packers. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and enjoy Week 2 of the NFL season.